ça marche. If I had any superpower, I could pick invisible flying. I would pick to be able to speak in every single language in the world, including sign language, talking to animals. I just think it's beautiful. Today is my 306th day Duolingo French streak. We're getting nearly there till we reach 365. And this is something I'm very, very proud of. And it's also 306 days since I returned from my last trip from Paris back to Warsaw. And that's when I decided that I wanted to learn French fluently. And on the 300th day streak is when I arrived here back in Paris. And what I wanted to talk about was how I'm learning this language and the things I've done, things that are helping me. And bear in mind that 306 days ago, French sounded like complete gibberish to me. So I decided I wanted to speak this language for many, many reasons. Actually, not many, apart from the fact that I'm in love with the language. I love the way it sounds. I think it's so deep. And the more I'm learning it, I'm learning how much sense it makes. I don't know if that makes sense, what I just said, but sense in the sense of the expressions, the idioms. You're like, that actually makes sense. And I believe that people who speak French or in the French language, you can communicate your thoughts and emotions deeper and better through the language than you would in any other language, including English. And that to me makes more and more sense the more and more I'm learning about the language. And so I never took any French class before in my life, but I am here currently for 1 month until March 2nd I'm taking in for 1 month, taking an intensive French course because that's what I felt like I reached a level that in order for me to progress more, I need to take a huge leap to immerse myself into the culture, into the language. And yeah, it's an intensive course. It's an everyday course, 72 hours within the whole month. So yeah, but the thing is that the level that I'm at is B1, and I reached this level solely just independently, like never took a class. I mean, the only things that I utilized were just logical things that first came to mind. It was Duolingo, that I'm still doing. There's another one called Busuu, which I believe I finished because there is a certain program, and that helped me a lot with the beginning grammar, the basics. And then every single day I listened to a French podcast. And if you've seen my 10 things I can't live without, one of the things I can't live without is my morning walks. And that's when I do listen to my podcast en français. And yeah, these are the 3 main things that I started doing and utilizing. And that helped me a lot to get where I'm at. But the thing is, I want to speak French. More so, there's no need for me. I'm thinking of peut-être maybe I want to live here, which is also what I'm testing out. But it's more so deeply rooted somewhere, I don't know. It's not even the want. For me, it's like an inner need that's, I don't know why. I must have been a French woman in my past life. That's what I've concluded as being the reason why I wanted to learn and speak French. And the more languages you know, as soon as I started learning French, it felt for me like a completely whole new world opened up. And it's beautiful, it's magnificent, and it's the same thing that would happen with any new language that you learn. The beauty of languages and communication and the power of it, the magic of it, that's what fascinates me the most. But also what I love about Paris and the French culture is something that I feel like I lack, and coming here and immersing myself and being like, I wish to learn this particular way of life, of taking things slower, of enjoying life, savoring every single moment, that I witnessed and observed in the French culture, which I find also very beautiful, and it's something I feel like I don't have enough of. I'm always on the go, always in a rush, always stressed, always two in my head, and as I believe many of us humans when we're on autopilot, and we forget to live. And here they can just take their time, and that's so beautiful because time is all we have. Then at the end of the day, the only thing certain that we know about life, about something we can be concrete about, 100% sure, is that we're all gonna die. And I don't mean that in a depressing way. I believe to be aware of that is beautiful, is to utilize because that's a given, right? So if that's a given, you can't change it. We cannot be immortal, correct? So why not use the time that we have to its fullest ability, to its fullest potential? Because no matter how healthy you eat, how, I don't know, whatever you do, you will never live forever. And what I'm seeing in this culture is the balance, how, like, that's the first word that comes to mind. Yeah, there is no good without bad, there's no white without black, it's never one thing basically. So we have to learn to balance and to just focus on what makes us happy. But yeah, 3 podcasts so far that I've found the most useful, helpful, and that I actually enjoyed and looked forward to listening to is number 1, the Duolingo French podcast. Yes, if you didn't know, they have a French podcast and it's amazing. Like, I look forward to episodes. People tell stories, real life stories, real people, throughout with different French accents, which I think is so useful to be able to get used to, not only like different pace, different speed. There are many different accents, and that is very useful. And the stories are really inspiring, really human, and I love it very, very much. There are also they do like seasons. So some seasons are like a story, and the narrators, the quality, the production is just top notch. I cannot recommend the Duolingo French podcast enough. That has to be the number 1. Secondly, what's the name of the podcast? Not Lingoda. Okay, I'll list them on the screen. I hope you should see them sometime now. And these are my top 3 podcasts that I recommend dearly and sincerely. So, I'm hoping within this month I will be able to, really progress in my French. I'm also like trying to watch every type of content that I see en français. How else am I learning? Taking a French course. So these are all the things that I utilize, and I'm probably forgetting some things, but I will definitely, if I do, I'll write it in the description. I'll put all the links in the description below. Which helped me, and I think are very useful and helpful. And if you have any tips, or if you speak French, if you learned French, what are some of the best tips that helped you, and that you could give me that you think would be helpful? I would really, really appreciate. And yeah, see you in the next video, and au revoir.